The Federal Reserve cut the benchmark rate by a quarter of a percentage point. It's now at 1.5 to 1.75%. The rate cuts come on a global slowdown, they say, also muted inflation. Now, the Fed does signal in this statement a pause for future rate cuts. The Federal Reserve statement changes the words from act as appropriate to assess. Now, the changes make part of that sentence that makes that big change. It says this, quote, it assesses the appropriate path of target range for the federal funds rate, and that's going forward. Now, the statement says that the labor market remains strong. It says consumer spending is rising at a strong pace. The Fed also sees that business investment and exports remain weak in this statement. The two Fed presidents dissented this statement. Two of those, Kansas City Fed President Esther George and Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren, both dissented. This is the third time that those two presidents have dissented. Now, the St. Louis Federal Reserve President Jim Bullard did not dissent this decision. He believes that this is exactly where the Fed needs to be with these 25 basis point cut. He believes that this is enough. He wanted, since last meeting, he wanted a 50 basis points cut. This time, he got the 25. He's at the level that he believes. Now, the Fed also lowered the rate on excess reserves to accompany that federal funds rate cut. It's now at 1.55%. But, Charles, the big news here, the Federal Reserve cutting the federal funds rate that quarter of a point, but then signaling a pause for future rate cuts because changing that word from act as appropriate to assess going forward. Back to you.
Edward, thank you very much. Here now to discuss